Jimmy Neutron, great show. Welcome into our Bears Now mailbag. I'm Harrison Graham. He asks, what's more likely, winning the NFC North or missing the playoffs entirely? It's a good question. I would say this. From a probability, mathematical, and just logic standpoint, missing the playoffs is more likely. Why? Well, it's a four-team division. You haven't won it since 2018. You're more likely to not win it than I'd say to win it, which means if you don't win it, your chances of making the playoffs obviously go down because there's only 3 wild card spots. But what I would say, Jimmy, is I'd be not surprised, but I'd be disappointed if this team didn't make the playoffs. So while missing the playoffs is more likely than winning the division, Vegas saw, or I think it was ESPN's predictor or something, the Bears' chances of making the playoffs, they had it at over 50%. So I think the Bears' chances of being a playoff team are at least pretty decent here. What do you guys think? Will the Bears make the playoffs this year? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. I feel like they will. If I had to guess, I would say wild card over division champs, but I wouldn't rule out either scenario. NFL Productions, do you think Caleb will throw over or under 15 picks? Plays all 17 games, probably a good number. I'll say under. His turnover issues in college were more fumbles than interceptions. Now, if you said 15 total turnovers, I'd probably take the over. But I'll take under on the picks. 10 to 13 is what I would guess for interceptions. I think it'll be higher than his 5 that he had last year. It's the NFL. It's a different beast. But, 10, 11 picks, something like that, and it'll be less than 15, I think. Cult of Carl, he says, if Davis is a bust, who replaces him as a starter this season? If I had to guess, number one, I don't think he'll be a bust. I don't think he'll be great, but I think he'll at least be a solid starter. I thought in the middle of last year he played pretty well after a slow start. Had a high ankle sprain. It wasn't great late in the year, so it was a funky year for Nate. But if he's healthy and plays, I think he's at least a solid starter. I don't think he'll be great. But if for some reason he gets hurt or if he struggles, I could see this being the starting 5. Braxton Jones at left tackle, Tevin Jenkins at left guard, Coleman Shelton, the starting center, Ryan Bates, the starting right guard, and then Darnell Wright at right tackle. I could see Shelton starting at center, Bates starting at right guard in this scenario. Zachary Schultz, any more news on how Tory Taylor has been doing? Pretty quiet from OTAs around him. A lot of the focus was on Caleb versus the defense. So not really a lot of Tory Taylor buzz this week. The Notcast, you can get a skybox and live stream at the game. It'd be fun, man. I mean, in theory, yes, but you guys going to fund that? I don't have skybox money. I can afford to go buy a ticket, but skybox, I mean, without looking, a skybox for a Sunday night football game in Houston, I mean, that might be like $10,000. It's got to be a lot, at least 5. Unfortunately, I don't think that's happening. Drew Martin, who has a better roster on paper than the Bears? I mean, I don't know. Like, the amount of teams, are you talking about division, league-wide? I mean, like, there are definitely several. Like, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Lions have a better overall roster. Maybe not the Bills at this point. The Bengals, if Burrow is healthy, has a better roster. Like, I don't know. It's probably just pure raw roster talent, somewhere between 5 and 12 teams. I think the Bears have a top half roster, though. I do. Papi Chulo sits, what's your Zacch Pickens expectations? My expectations is he's like a average to above average rotation guy. I would say last year he was below average to average. At times he looked solid. Other times he didn't look very good. And then, a decent amount of time he was kind of middle of the road. I would expect that. I don't get starting vibes from him, at least not at this point in time. But I think he'll be a little better than last year, a little more consistent, and could work into the rotation a little bit more. Today's show, speaking of consistency, is PrizePicks, the best daily fantasy sports app out there. On a daily basis, they have 3 million active users. You should be one of them because it's fun and the stakes are high right now with the NBA and NHL playoffs, and you should get in on all of the awesome action at prizepicks.com/CLNS. You can use the code CLNS for deposit match up to $100 as well. We also have a 2-player entry for season-long projections. I like this play. DeAndre Swift more than 850.5 rushing yards. I also like Amon-Ra St. Brown more than 7.5 receiving touchdowns. He had 10 last year for Detroit. I don't see why that's going to dip below 7.5. 10 to win 30 there on that 2-player entry. The more players you put into an entry, if you hit, the more of a payout you get. You can win up to 100 times your money on certain entries right now. Check it out, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS again to get that deposit match up to $100. Excuse me. All right. Edward, as long as we beat Green Bay, I don't care if we miss the playoffs. It's a new team and mostly new staff. Clear my throat here. I get that sentiment. So are you saying you'd rather beat the Packers at least once and miss the playoffs than get swept by the Packers and make the playoffs? I'd still rather make the playoffs, but I do agree you have got to start beating Green Bay. I mean, at least split with them this year. I mean, come on, man. Like, this one-sided dominance cannot continue. Can I get an FGB, anybody? Fire up the comments. Daniel Atkins, how about Odunze as a returner? Saw college highlights, and he was pretty explosive. I wouldn't rule it out, especially as a punt returner. If they don't have a clear answer back there, like if Dante Pettis doesn't make the team or if they don't trust Tyler Scott in that role, like I think Odunze very well could do that, at least as a rookie. I don't think long-term you want him being a returner, especially a punt returner, just because injury risk, and he's got to be a big part of your offense pretty quickly here. But I could see it as rookie year. I absolutely could see it. Christian, what's your biggest hot take for the upcoming NFL season? Doesn't have to be the Bears. My biggest hot take. This kind of sucks for the Bears because they play this team early on. I'm coming around to the idea that Anthony Richardson could be really fucking good. I just think he's in a great situation. Shane Steichen is a great offensive coach. Jalen Hurts' best year by far up to this point was with him as his OC. We saw really good flashes of Richardson last year before he got hurt. Guys are raving about him at Colts OTAs right now. Who's the veteran guard who's just been a stud forever? Quentin Nelson. He said he reminds him of Andrew Luck in terms of just the vibes, the leadership. Like, that speaks volumes to me. I'm not fully like 100 million% on that take, but I think Richardson could be pretty good for Indy, and the Bears play him week 3, so it's going to be interesting. Mike Nintendo Master, how was the offensive line looked in OTAs? Hard to say. I mean, OTAs, there's no pads, so like you're going to have limited kind of opinion and information there. Nate Davis wasn't there today. If anything, that's something I'm monitoring because he missed most of the voluntary stuff last year. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic about this group. Should be at least better than the last couple of years, but until the pads go on, it's hard to know. Squeegee has the Crocodile punter's last punt from practice today re-entered the earths of the atmosphere. I hope not, because that means he launched the ball. But Tory Taylor should be a weapon. He should be good. It's going to be a clear upgrade from Trenton Gill. Subscribe to Bears Now for free and daily videos like these mailbags. Hit that sub button, turn on notifications. If you don't want to miss out, all you got to do is subscribe for free. Jaron Thomas says, let's pump the brakes on Caleb Williams' struggles against an established secondary. This is in reference to Thursday's OTA practice. If anything, our secondary will make Caleb a better QB iron trap from Zarn. Exactly, Jaron. Like, let's get to training camp. If the defense dominates every single day and every single day the headline is Caleb struggles, like, yeah, if we're 2 weeks into camp and he hasn't had a good day, like, yeah, that's going to be a concern, obviously. But one OTA practice in late May when you're installing a new offense with a rookie quarterback who didn't have 2 of his top 3 receivers at practice, by the way, in Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze, versus an established defense, like, yeah, I would expect the defense to rule the day. Jay Reezy, trade Khalil Herbert plus a third to the Chargers to bring Khalil Mack back. I don't hate that offer, to be honest. Herbert plus a third. I probably want it to be more like Herbert plus a 4th or 5th. Mack is older. He's expensive. So a third might be a little rich. But I don't hate kind of the principle of the trade. Khalil Herbert, I'd like to have him, but he's expendable. You've got Swift as your starter. I think Roschon can be your number 2. So it's an interesting idea, Jay. Interesting idea. Aaron Wolf started GoFundMe Harrison Skybox Dallas to do a live watch party for the Skybox. Wasim's in. He's in. If you're not watching this live, this is in reference to going to a Bears live or to a game in person and doing a live watch party from there. Listen, it'd be sick, man. There's no question about it. It'd be fun. Logistically, I'm not sure how it would work. I made the reference. I think a Skybox probably costs $5-10 grand for an NFL game, but I don't even have a good feel for that. It might be more. So, if you guys want to fund it, then I'm sure we could figure something out. You guys know the motto. Type FGB in the comments. It's FGB forever. You guys know the drill. Mike Media, how do you keep hope in the Bears QBs after so many failures? I think you just have to evaluate the guy coming in. Like, doesn't mean it's going to work, but I think Caleb Williams has all the talent in the world. I think that the way people have spoken about him, coaches and teammates, both in college and now early on with the Bears, like, it's a tool to lean on. I mean, when draft analysts who have been doing this for a while say he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck or at worst Trevor Lawrence, like, look, it doesn't guarantee anything, but, like, am I just supposed to give up hope and just never think it's going to happen? Like, the Chiefs probably never thought they'd have an awesome QB either. I mean, Alex Smith had a nice couple of years, but, like, it's not like they're loaded with a great QB history. Now, the Bears is bad. There's no question about it, but I'm not going to just be like, he's going to suck no matter what because it's the Bears. Like, eventually they're going to get it right, and I think there's a decent chance they will with this guy. Sam Tara, could we potentially sign Josh Dobbs to be a utility guy, play backup QB, and rotate at the edge position, possibly left or right tackle? I think there's some tongue-in-cheek there, but he signed with the team. The 49ers signed him. That's right. He's on San Francisco's roster. He is competing to be their backup along with Brandon Allen, I believe. So that backup situation isn't great. But, yeah, Dobbs not available currently. Appreciate all the questions. It's at HGramNFL on Instagram and Twitter. If you have any more questions, you can fire away over there at HGramNFL.